So we have to wait for the people to come.
Yeah, that, and I'm gonna grab the link. Let's see if
Okay.
it.
So you just go on Twitter and invite people?
I'll just put a. I grab a link. I already set up a tweet.
Huh. Shit. I'll never have to go to parties again. We can have a party.
Heck yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Let's see.
I think this is what they called like online. They call it like para relationship.
Yeah.
I think that's like so people come in and then they know about your life, but you have no idea who they are.
That's true. I also just tagged you in the Twitter post if you want to reshare that so we can get a few more people in here if anyone else has
Oh
questions
man.
before.
Yeah, I know that my Tintin's gonna come up and I'm gonna get roasted because they're like they're gonna be like this guy dropped the ball until next week, bruh.
No, it wasn't you. No, I mean, it's all good. You're worth the wait. All
Oh,
right.
holy shit, you're like the first person to say that.
No, it's true. We got Mo Lava. What's up? And we got WAT and Watt DC.
What's
Um,
going on? What's going on?
Sweet. Oh, the IR1, yeah. Um, some of my homies. All right.
Do you have
Um,
do you have
yeah.
mods in here? Like how does it work? I actually don't know how any of this
I
works.
don't. I could go through. I mean, if someone's really annoying, I could go through and just, I guess, kick them out. It takes a few steps, so I prefer not to.
Oh, okay, okay.
But if someone was just totally spamming, I'm not. Yeah. Um,
We need like tough bouncers, man. We're too nice in here.
yeah. So just for anyone, Ping Pang, I was just talking. He's got sitting on some legit tin. So, but we're gonna save that for later in the week. Uh, but for right now, we were actually just talking about the chart and decided to do a little work to add in a few data points to explain like how it is that the chart works. There 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 is an influence that's to do with algorithms, I'm sure, and I don't know chicken or the egg which one goes first as far as um, like do they correlate the news with the charts? I don't know, but there is news associated with charts that's more than just like fake news. I think the fake news can move it a little bit, but when the actual, I think the actual way, I mean, I think the way that the charts end up being in a big way, if there's a big change, that's due to something real, and you can see it if you track the dockets. So, uh, I don't know if I'm not gonna say like money's fake, but like the value of money is definitely kind of fake, especially in a fiat currency. So I think I don't know if there's something behind the algorithms that are kind of assigning value to things like this type of thing is going to be worth that, but you can see that it stays within these trends and that there's different theses that are being tested, and one of those is, oh man, I forgot. We forgot one of the most important dates to look up, which was whatever day this was, the very bottom. But I think
Uh
that's
that's
yeah.
when we announced that we were going into bankruptcy, no?
So we announced bankruptcy somewhere up here, but the actual bottom where it turned back around.
Oh, that was shit. I kind of remember that day. It was when we are going to list it, I believe.
Okay, well maybe I don't know if you want to look that up right now
Yeah.
while I'm talking for a second. See if you can find out.
What's the date?
Let me pull up the chart real quick. So the date was, so we're looking at something for either the third May 3rd, or yeah, it had to have been May 3rd actually. Is so I found several correlations to It's actually kind of interesting now that I have gone through and looked at what that there actually was dockets that were important and events that were important at the peak, that it seems that it actually could have been what actually caused depressions in the market in the regular SPY, because like you have a peak here, boom, you have a dip, and then it recovers. It looks like almost completely opposite of this. It's almost like it's like stabbing a mark in the market, which I don't know. I'm sure someone like OK Bet could explain how exactly that works. But and then you have other ones where it's kind of not exactly correlated, but pretty close. That one's not 100%. Well, actually, I guess they're right there. Um, but then something kind of happens weird where suddenly it is correlated with the market, that a peak corresponds to the peak, a drop corresponds to the drop, another drop corresponds to another drop, another peak corresponds to another peak. So it's kind of weird that it has like this, it had this inverse relationship, these like high risk assets versus like, blue chip or whatever assets. Um, but I think that there's multiple things. One, there was China came out with a new law basically saying that they can defend themselves in their own territory and their own sovereignty. And I think this was the time when they had their ships um, going around. Maximus and Justin, hey, what's up? Yeah, their ships going around Taiwan and so there was like a bunch of uncertainty, and something like that could pull down the entire market. So um, we some people have been talking about like the market collapsing, and I don't know that's as straightforward as just like the dollar milkshake or theory or whatever is going to suggest. That there's lots of factors going on, and it's kind of difficult to know which one has the most influence. But if something went down with Taiwan in July, if it would have like played out like World War III, then no one's going to be wanting to throw their money at the stock market. Not even like the blue chip companies, all of them, because all the companies are using Taiwan Semiconductor anyway. So like AMD, Nvidia, heck, even Intel, like everyone's using, actually not all, I think some of Intel, they're all using Taiwan, right? So that would have been a terrible time. But then as it kind of continued forward, and with other developments like the housing market in China and whatnot, it kind of, the idea of World War III and that as a threat kind of like got put on the back burner at least a little bit. And so, I mean, maybe we might see that start to change because the market started to come back up starting, what is that, August, end of August. So I think how I don't know if the algorithms are the ones setting this, but basically there's a channel based on, there's a certain range based on like an event. They could say like, if Teddy gets acquired, that event would be bullish, let's just say like, and then they would give plus or minus a certain range, maybe. And if this thesis is strong, then it stays in the top half of that range. So if we were looking at the red, it'd be this area. And if it's weak, it'd be in this area. And so you can kind of, each time it crosses one of these lines, it has to have a reason to cross that line. And so you could then look at the dockets, whatever you want. There's going to be some sort of evidence of it getting permission to cross that line. So right here, you can see it hits the line, then goes back, and it has to then, get permission then to break through. It has to go back and it retests it. It's like, wait, are we sure? Goes back up, but that's because it hits the next line. So hits the next line, comes down, comes back up, breaks back through, but then comes back up. And I mean, we just see how many times it's like touching it. I mean, if we go in here, the amount of times it interacts with this line is weird. And then it goes back down, and it didn't have what it takes to go back out and cross that line again. So what gave it kind of permission to start the journey back up? Well, the sale of leases, the first batch of leases that were sold, and they're like, look, we've wiped a certain amount of debt. It wasn't all of it. It was just a certain amount. And that right there, I could look further and figure out what day this was, but it got permission to, we see it interacted with this line, which I guess I should zoom out and show what that is. but then it had to bust through, and it made it all the way up to the top of that one. So what was this obstacle? So right here, we're like, okay, we have to sell some leases. That means maybe we're going to be able to sell all of them. And then you have some Telegraph Partners BS, right? So they owned some big, some of the bigger leases that they had worth the most. And they were just digging their heels in and being as annoying as possible, right? Does anyone want to work with anyone in the future? Don't have it be them, because they're obviously the worst. So, um, so back to just the overall, there's basically four theses here. Well, the first thesis was liquidation. It was, we're going to zero, we're getting wiped out, the company's not worth anything. And so it followed that for a bit. And then the restructuring happened, and something, it's like, oh, so this actually could have been, you think, what would have happened like first day of bankruptcy? Well, somewhere right in here, the theory is that Ryan Cohen exercised his warrants, right? That there was enough warrants through Hudson Bay Capital that he was able to get um, up to 49% of the company. I would need some fact checks on that, because but famous, what was his name? Oh shoot. Anyway, there's a few people that came on the PP show recently, and Jake to be, they could explain this process, and how it seems most likely that this is the reason that Ryan Cohen is a creditor, is because of the warrants that were issued right back here, or no, back in, well, I guess maybe here a little bit sooner. And those warrants then in place once, because he could have cashed out for cash, but then it's like, well, he exercised some of them, and then maybe he exercised remaining ones. So yeah, so it could be, but also that's kind of done in, I mean, HBC did kind of death spiral another company recently. So having it under the disguise of that kind of makes that part of the story kind of off the table, as far as like what this chart is looking for. I think, I'm not sure. So we can see how much we've deviated from the liquidation thesis, where it's like not even on the table. That the only thesis that's the most bearish thesis is just the survival thesis, and that's that we just continue sideways. That's the blue channel. And as you can see, we've spent most of the time in the top half of that one. So something, the people with a lot of money and really know what's going on, and the algorithms that are probably scraping all the filings for certain keywords and whatnot. The consensus has been that the survival thesis is strong. Survival with shareholders intact, because obviously it would go to zero if the shareholders weren't intact. So something about that happened, was at least threatened right here. But then we see that it got back up. But also right here, it could be that around the same time is when, so that we had the 8K, which pushed us back up into almost into the, pushed us back into the strength, the strong thesis of the bull thesis, the beyond thesis. But kind of the medium, just the recovery thesis, it couldn't quite pass the breakout of just recovering, and got kicked back down. But at the same time, that's when like the whole World War III thing was the fear of that came in. And so it's possible that this whole downward journey right here is actually just responsible for that, because you see the same downward journey starting, you have right here, here, and then it just keeps going down all the way down to here. It bottoms the same day. So that doesn't seem coincidental. And in the event of a World War III, the high risk assets are going to take a bigger hit than the regular assets. And so it makes sense. So this might be like what would be an artifact of the company. It has nothing to do with the company, everything to do with just the economy in general. So that would mean that where it was tracking, it should be all the way up here. Um, or, I guess somewhere in here. And so that this whole thing would then shift back up. I guess I should have done circles there too to say it might shift up there or there, but it's definitely shouldn't be down here. And so each time these like cross, there's some sort of decision that happens. And so like for example, you see three of them crosses, there's like a decision, it narrows to a decision. Um, right here, and that decision was some people, some land, some real estate holders, leaseholders are going to dig in their heels really hard. So that was that decision, and but then you have the post petition financing, right? That was bullish, and then something happened and pulled it back down. I should probably look to figure out what that one was. But then the stalking horse bid came in, and then that made it go up. And then you have the bondholders reject post financing, right? Well, that's the most important part for survival, at least, is the post petition financing. So having that threatened was what brought it down. Well, then you had the 8K, something about the 8K brought it back up. And then something about the Harmon sale. I mean, the Harmon sale was kind of weird. They sold it for like 300K, and like it was making like $2 million, $2.5 million or something a year, like profit. Like, I don't know why you would give away $2 million company a year for 300K. That's crazy.
Sorry, quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
Who was this sold to?
I
We,
I
we
don't
can
know.
pull it up.
I probably need to dig in further. I just remember
Yeah,
watching. I read some article about someone. I don't know if they just bought some of the leases,
yeah.
um, but I'm pretty sure they bought it and they're keeping like 5 stores alive or something. Um, so something weird is going on there. That, yeah, I mean, I haven't dug too much in, but um, the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm excited because like I've always liked Harmon stores. My family used to go there for a long time, and now we get to run them. And it's like, and it's so easy to run them. They just were making money. Like even to when they shut their doors, they were profitable.
Yeah. So Harmon was a health store, right? Like
I
I
think it
think
was
that
mostly makeup, wasn't it?
is it.
Yeah, it was
Hmm.
Harmon Face Values.
Yeah.
It was a discount makeup store. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, you're
yeah, but
right. Yeah.
either way, it was profitable. I mean, I had the article up the other day. I'd have to find it again, but something about there was like, well, if they're liquidating assets, they're valuable like that. Like maybe there's corruption, but it also might be the World War III idea. Something sort of changed. Um, but you can see that there was like these different, like when it gets to it forms a triangle. It's like or if the chart just naturally starts to make a pennant or whatever, it's that like something it's narrowing in on a decision point. And like at first people have no idea, there's a lot of like discrepancy on what people believe about that decision, but once it gets closer to the date, insider information and whatever else, and so it does like come to a pinpoint. And so it's kind of interesting that when we started going up, yes, there was a court date, but it also had narrowed to this decision here, right? And
Hmm.
then you can see the whole direction changed. And so I don't know if like an algorithm or there's a psychology is what is like recognizing these decision points and then like reacting to them, but they are. And then, these lines aren't drawn, exactly perfectly. So it might be, off for a few days or whatever. But right here, there was a decision point. So, people suggested maybe it was because Sun Devil Rogue DRS'd 1 million shares. That's why we went up 23%. Possibly. I don't know. I don't know if the chart was predicting that he would do that this far away. I mean, I drew these lines all the way back here, like I think right back here where the stalking horse bid is when I was like, well, this line and that line seem connected. So I haven't changed the lines since then, and they've been playing out. So unless he's like the fulfilling the prophecy that the chart had prophesied for a long time, um, it might also just be that something happened around the September 1st sort of day that it was the chart's been looking forward to that day for a long time, because then you see that run up. In that run up, we have you can see how many times, like I said, I made these lines a long time ago. How many times it like challenged that line, got rejected, challenged it again, got rejected, broke through, challenged the next line, get back into the recovery thesis, got rejected, and then got super rejected. Like it went down. But I feel like when it breaks one of these lines, it creates like a lot of pressure and it wants to like it's because like if it breaks a thesis, normally it'll drop like at least like 10 to 20%. And so it wanted to drop, but also some it didn't want to drop. And then so it came back up and then it just hovered above this line. And then, something happened behind the scenes,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought there was like some sort of a leak on Friday
Yeah.
because like out of nowhere, I didn't see any news. I was like, holy shit, it just started to run for no reason. I think
There
something leaked.
there probably was a leak, especially since like if you look here, so it peaked. I should pull up on the other one so it's a little bit better resolution, but it peaked, it got a higher high,
Yeah,
and then at the end of the day, it got an even higher high. So kind of
high
it breaking the previous day higher high
and
um
higher
two
lows.
times after that. Yeah, and higher exactly. Then that means it might want to run all the way back up here to this point. Because you can kind of look at the chart and you can see that the chart just doesn't really give a crap about the lines in between. Like you can see, like right here to right here, it just basically skips from this blue line straight to that green line. From here down to here, it went from essentially that red line down to the blue line. From this one, you see it go from the blue line down to the green line. Um, from here, it's like, well, you could say red line down to the green line, blue line down to the red line. I mean, like it literally like doesn't spend the red line to the green line. It doesn't spend a lot of time messing around in between these values.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's psychology or algos, but yeah.
What do you think? WATDC. Do you want to come on and explain that?
Oh yeah.
I actually,
Yeah. Let me put a link
yeah.
in the. Thanks, man.
No worries, no worries. I figured there's a lot of questions that's been asking, and oh my God, it's CAC Gaming. He's asking about. He feels like something's coming up in September 12th. I know we have dates coming up for that, but
Yeah, that is the combination. Oh, way too
oh,
shy.
buddy,
Yeah,
Mike, he's a very smart guy, and the reason why I'm here is because I'm pretty retarded, and I figured the only way for me to learn is to listen to this guy. That's why I'm here. So don't be shy. Just come right on, man. I'll tell you straight up. I see this as like I'm like, holy shit, this is probably like what institutional like thesis and their like investment strategy is. And I'm over here, I'm like, yeah, stocks usually go up, right? Like this whole entire time, I'm just holding out a sheer fucking confusion and tinfoil. Like,
no, wait till you see his tinfoil later in the week. There's a lot. I mean, but I mean, the actually important thing, right, is Ryan Cohen gave us what we need to learn from, and that's the Teddy books, right? That's what we're like the roadmap we're supposed to be looking at. The
yeah,
charts is just like because if we were paying attention to the Teddy books, we would know that everything's on track, right? They had one change to the Teddy books, maybe two changes. They took out like one sentence, and it was like, oh, Sonia is right on time. Well,
yeah.
they took that out, and it's like, well, that's the only thing that's changed about the plan is the timing. That's crazy that everything Ryan Cohen planned is on like is happening. It just isn't happening on the exact time frame that he was imagining. and part of that might be the fact that I don't know that he could have guessed writing the Teddy books 2 years ago that World War III would happen, like be threatened in July. He
Yeah.
did notice that there was other things, like I think it talks about the bird chirping and how people are so scared of the bird chirping. And because like when Jerome Powell speaks and he's like, which bird is going to chirp? Is it going to be the hawkish bird or the dovish bird? Like people freak out. The whole market freaks out. And so when Ryan Cohen actually wrote that is when they were talking about raising interest rates. And it's like, well, who would want to go into creating a company when there's just been fiscal tightening and the interest rates are a lot higher? And it's like people that have a cushion, right? You see in the book, there's lots of the pillow is a theme, and that Ryan Cohen has a cushion of cash himself. GameStop has a cushion of cash, and Carl Icahn has a cushion of cash, and IEP has a cushion of cash. There's 4 cushions of cash. And so the fiscal tightening isn't going to stop him. In fact, I don't even know if that might be correlated with them trying to stop Ryan. I mean, I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but
That's
it
why
could be
I'm here.
possible.
That's
It's like,
why
oh,
I'm here.
he's trying to do Teddy, and Teddy is going to disrupt the whole market, and there's going to be a decentralized stock exchange, and the Nasdaq and the NYSE are going to like just kind of start whittling, like going away as everyone moves to the more free, fair, and transparent market. Um, I mean, how all the people, all the donors to politicians and everything would not want that to happen. And so, I mean, I really wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they've had reason to start hiking the interest rates a long time ago, and they didn't. Like, who would think, like, oh, yeah, let's print trillions of dollars? It probably won't affect, like, inflation. No, they just kept printing and printing. They didn't care. But as soon as then GameStop happened, and it's like, oh crap, like time's up, And so I don't know if it's their way of protecting it and the people that are protecting it. I mean, somehow out of this whole um, fiscal tightening, JP Morgan ended up with, $150 billion of the assets from First Republic Bank, and like a sweetheart, deal, basically got it on a silver platter. And so, JP Morgan is the one that was stopping any Bed Bath and Beyond from accepting Ryan Cohen's deal in the beginning. So are those correlated? You know?
I think it might be because the way Carl likes to do things from all the documentaries I've watched, it's like he likes to purchase things cheap, right? So if he
Yeah.
had the shorts, even JP Morgan and their buddies short the company to like as low as they can, then Carl would ride that train until he can purchase it for as cheap as he can, right? Because that's the whole point. Like that's how he does things to acquire as cheap as he can. Because if you have your enemy is your friend when it you want them to do things that you want the way it goes, and then you go in and you buy it, and that's how you kind of you kind of fuck them over, right?
Yeah.
Because if he bought it when it was still like, let's say for example like 50 cents or even more, why would he do that when he can get it for like 25 cents? Like if he's coming through the sheer way, right? Because he likes to do like he likes to have multiple ways of like going into a company, whether it's through bonds or shares, or
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe there's other ways like you were mentioned warrants and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like Ryan Cohen was trying to go in the front door and just take the company. I think if they would have taken it, he would have paid whatever he had to pay. I mean, he wants to take on Amazon. I don't think he's worried about pennies at this point. I don't think he's ever been worried about pennies.
Hmm.
Um, that's I think when he bought those like $60 calls, like I think he would have exercised them, because if you look at, he's like, the price of it is basically, he's saying he's looking at the old highest high of Bed Bath and Beyond and saying, no, I guarantee if I come in, it's going to go higher. And if you look at GameStop's oldest highest high, right, it's
Yeah.
still above its old highest high.
Hmm. Okay.
So I think that it just was straight up like, yeah, no, like I'm gonna pay $60 a share for these, in a certain number by January, I'm gonna pay a certain that much. Because also you're not allowed to you can't just take over a company, right? You have to buy that right of having influence at a premium. So by
Okay.
him
Okay.
buying those calls, it's like it would bypass the rules it's saying like you can't do this because of the premium he'd be paying. It shows that shareholders, everyone else, all of their shareholders would agree with him.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like an automatic like vote of saying yeah. So like if you're going to buy warrants, like a pipe deal, the pipe deal typically has to be a higher share like strike price than what um,
Then the
what the
current market value?
yeah, that's why like
Yeah.
Elon Musk had to pay, right? Like Twitter was at like, I don't know, $30 or something, and he had to pay
Yeah.
$50.
Like 50. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So, I think like people are trying like we know that Ryan Cohn isn't penny pinching. I mean, he would have sold his shares at, in the GameStop squeeze if that was the case. I mean, but he has a long-term vision, and like it's impressive that the thesis of his and all the things like kind of backing up his long-term vision like keep consistently happening. So it makes me really excited.
I think WATDC should totally come on, man. I want to see.
I'm trying to read his question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be coming on later this week. So you can get ready to come on. We're going to be doing 24-hour streaming.
Oh, holy crap. You guys are
Once
awesome.
I'm sure this week.
Yeah.
I mean, the chart's definitely saying something's going to happen here. This is the 12th, right?
So what you're saying is I can
That's a
finally write the letter to my boss and be like, see ya.
I wouldn't do it yet. I wouldn't do it yet because like the thing is since we've been watching this, like I have a
Yeah.
little bit of money that if this runs again tomorrow, I'm going to buy some more shares.
Yeah.
I may be a little reckless if I use the money right now, but if it gets this line up here, it'd be worth it to then buy in, right? And it seems kind of crazy because it's like, well, you'd miss out on that. I mean, I already have a lot of shares. It's not like I have that much more. But let's say that you got your paycheck later, right? Like, let's say that it hits this, and let's say it goes all the way up to here. We get to like 50 cents, 48 cents, or whatever, and then you get paid, right? I think a lot of us, if it hit there, um, uh, we're probably going to still dump in more money because we know if it gets to here, it's going to go to 25, 80. Whoa, I didn't know WATDC actually came from my ADHD stuff. That is awesome. that that really touches me because um yeah, because that is actually why I started a YouTube channel in general is psychology. So
Hmm.
sweet. Thanks, man.
Man, should come on anyways. We'd love to hear your opinion, right? Like that's what show's all about.
Crazy how DFV peeked behind the curtain. RC wrote books. Home, Stock Market 101, banks failing.
Oh, I know what's fun to talk about.
Yeah.
What how do you do an exit strategy? I don't
So
think a lot of
it all
people
depends
talk
on.
about that.
So there's different types of. There's different types of plays. So this play is different than GameStop. It's different than. I mean, it's kind of most similar to GameStop, I guess you could say. But like, if you bought in at GameStop, like they had a 4-to-1 split, so
Yeah.
technically the price would theoretically be higher. So like, it's at what? Let's say it's at $20 right now. So that means it's theoretically at $80. So that means if you just bought in and you literally fell asleep for however long it's been, 2 years, and you just woke up and you're like, oh crap, I totally forgot I have a bunch of GameStop I bought right before the squeeze. You would be going from $2 to $80.
Holy
Like
shit.
So exit strategy, you're like, well, okay, yeah, that's a lot of money, right? So I'm just gonna sell it, right? Um, I mean, actually, I wouldn't sell at GameStop right now because I think that these are connected, and so I mean, I currently don't have any GameStop just because I don't have any more money. But if I did, I would. Um,
Yeah. Wait, you guys have money left still?
yeah, I mean, I have like just like a tiny amount. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know if I should spend next month's rent like right now.
That's that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, huh, how much does it cost for me to hold this leverage right now?
If I would have, I somehow like I bought some Novavax calls and I like missed because I was thinking about like the COVID hysteria
Yeah.
coming back, and man, I missed it one morning. I just like woke up a little late, and I got up to see that my calls were up, more than 100%. And yeah, so if I would have been able to catch that one, that'd have been great. But instead, I just barely got my money back from that one. So I guess that's good. Um,
So sorry, quick
oh yeah,
question regarding
yeah,
Novavax. So Novavax is obviously the pharmaceutical, like
hmm
do they okay, so every time I think about that, I think about like Martin Scarelli because he
yeah,
was he was majorly into that kind of stuff, right? How that's actually what I thought about my next play might be. It's like just to keep with short squeeze high and not wait, 2 years for it. It
yeah.
it sounds like a gambling issue. It really does if you think about it. So so how do you play in something like that?
I mean, for me, like, so you have to look for a catalyst, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
can either like, there's day trading, then there's swing trading.
yeah,
I mean, for me, I saw that the short interest was high. They still have a bunch of cash on hand. It's not just COVID. They make flu vaccines as well, and
okay, that's good.
also theirs is like more of a traditional type of vaccine as opposed to mRNA. So I figured that I'd bought some a while back just for some January calls, just because I was like, well, I didn't have enough money to actually buy shares or anything. Um, oh, IR1 said it was a great trade for him back in 2020. um,
Nice.
so I thought like that when people start getting the flu this flu season, they're going to be scared it's COVID, and then they're going to
Yeah.
buy flu vaccines, and the people who haven't gotten their vaccine yet might want a more traditional one. And so that's why and then I bought some more recently, but um, with a shorter expiration date, just to like play the news coming out on like the increase. But then they were saying that all the new vaccines don't really work for the new um, variant very well, and so I was like, crap.
Back.
Yeah,
Back.
but yeah, I mean, so I don't have a lot in there. I just have a few calls just for January. So that if it does pop like crazy, that I at least have some exposure there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, with how much people hate vaccines, it's definitely especially. So that's why it's like different with like something like Novavax or something like I'm trying to think of what the other kind of squeezes that have happened, like GNS or something. Like it's just like there might be a hype cycle, and you can get lucky.
Yeah.
But if you miss the GNS squeeze, like you missed it. Sorry. Like if you bought in at $6, it's probably going to be a long time before you get back to $6. And so I mean, if I see something with a really low RSI and they're have cash on hand, they're not going to immediately dilute, and their short interest is kind of high. I mean, the degenerate gambler in me comes out and like, well, you want at least a few call options, just to have them. But
Do you play
yeah.
sorry, do you play with spreads when you do that? Actually, I'm not too familiar with them. I'm just kind of
No,
curious.
I mean, on my a play I did before, I wish I would have just bought and puts along with my shares. That's definitely something I advocate for.
Like
Like,
a protection put, right? Just to hedge
yeah,
against your position. Okay.
yeah. If I would have done that, man, I would have had triple, quadruple my position right now. I lost big. I was right, but early on that one. But
Yeah.
that one was like, it was just kind of it was a different play, and it was relying on factors that catalysts that like weren't as solid as Ryan Cohen. I mean, Ryan Cohen has already proved he can do it, right? And he
Yeah,
has a whole series of books proving he's going to do it again. It's like, this is
yeah.
my plan. Watch me do it. So, as far as exit, like, um, I don't know. I mean, I think that this is. I mean, I don't think like even really the question of exit kind of comes up until we get beyond about $7. That's when it's like, okay, now let's actually talk about our exit plan. Um, and yeah,
In my head, are- I'm following what Kevin Malone's doing. He said his exit strategy is at like 30 or something, and I'm like, that's when I actually deleverage and I'm holding to like above 200. But that's just me though.
so I think that he's kind of smart. I mean, if I was, I mean, for me personally, like I'll be transparent. Like,
Yeah.
um, depending on the situation, if it hits $12, I might take out like 5% or
Really? Okay.
10%,
Yeah.
just because one, I just actually need money right now.
Yeah, me too, man. Me
And I
too.
have enough shares to be able to do that and not like worry. I mean, if I take out 5% of my shares, like, I mean, I have, quite a bit right now. So, um, and then I'll probably take out, if it hits, somewhere between 25 and 30, then I
Okay.
probably take out another 10%, or,
Oh,
maybe even more than 20%. Um, and then just let the rest ride, because at that point I've already made enough money to not
to cover your bases kind of deal.
worry, more than cover my basis. I mean,
Okay.
if I so yeah, it probably will be, yeah, about 5% at 12, if it plays out the way I think it's going to play, and then another 10% at 10 to 15% at somewhere between 25 and 30. So,
Hmm,
and then
interesting.
like I mean, I think it will. I don't know. I mean, I really think it could hit 80. 80. It could hit 200, but I mean, like, I think it's like very likely to not
It
jump.
becomes like smaller percentage and smaller as it keeps going
Yeah.
up,
I
right?
mean, I think it could be at 80 for a decent amount of time. I don't think it'll be there for like 5 minutes or something. I think it will like could potentially be there for, I don't know, longer. So if it is, um, yeah,
Okay. For me, I just thought it all depends on the amount of naked shares out there for me. And
yeah,
then on the other hand, I think OK Bets was talking about the 30 different ways of them generating liquidity.
yeah.
And then it's everything is so, up and down. I was kind of like, oh crap, okay. So I'm thinking, trying to think of like an actual exiting strategy, and I can't think of any.
So, but here's like something to remember, right? Like
Yeah.
so
It's
GameStop was cool, right?
yeah.
But they didn't have the framework set up to be able to hit the ground running. So,
Sorry, what do you mean by hit the ground running?
how is GameStop going to probably make most of their money? GameStop player, right?
Okay.
They're going to take on Twitch, completely destroy Twitch. So you have a $200 billion market, and GameStop's going to take the lion's share of that. My guess is at least 100 billion of that's going to go right to GameStop, and then the other two or whatever people can fight over the other 100 billion probably.
Okay.
Um, so um, Yeah, so if that's the case, right? So GameStop, but like it's taken them a while to set up to get towards that, and I think that they're going to have local tournaments involved with that. Like you go to your local GameStop and use a certified computer or Xbox or whatever to join like in this global tournament thing,
Okay.
and you'll get like your own skins as NFTs and whatever. Um, uh, so there's, I see the roadmap for GameStop as it seems pretty straightforward to me. Like, but it isn't going to happen overnight. Well, like it wasn't going to happen overnight, starting back when the squeeze happened. So it inevitably was going to come down. But you think about where it came down to. It came down to, I guess, the equivalent of, you know, it was $2 to $80 or something. So I might be getting that wrong. I haven't followed a lot of GameStop, but even if it's $2 to $20, that's still a decent
That's a
amount.
pretty good gang. Yeah.
But I think that like if someone just held on for a whole year, period, um, Bed Bath and Beyond would be up like the total of what we get for Bed Bath and Beyond will at least be up to $80 because of like Gmerica and Teddy and all that stuff. Once that launches, like it probably just will be at $80 just as like the normal value. It could be at $200. So there's going to be there's going to be a peak. If it moves to the decentralized market, another peak, and but then it's going to have a steady growth after that, after it comes down. So I mean, yeah, if you want to try and grab the peak, but then it will come down and hit a bottom, and I don't know, maybe I'll just buy back in if you know.
I I was just thinking that before when we're looking at $80 a share, that's when Triton came in and did all the share buybacks, right?
Yeah, and I think that the share buybacks was just a defensive maneuver to try and to mess up Ryan Cohen. I think a lot of people were like confused at why he sold, but it seems pretty straightforward to me that he didn't want to have to file and he didn't want,
Oh, okay.
and then they did a share buyback and it pushed him over 10% and that kind of just messed up his plans.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay, okay.
yeah.
Huh.
So I don't think it was like anything more than just that. Literally, like they did a little cock block, and because they had no reason to do a share buyback, there's zero reason to do a share buyback.
So with that being said, when they did the share buyback, they took out a whole lot of liquidity from Bed Bath, and after that, I think all the JP Morgan buddies decided to short the stock, right? Because you don't want to short when it's like kind of half there. You want to short at the peak, right?
Yeah,
To get
I didn't think
maximum
about that, but
profit.
that's pretty douchey. If they did do that, they're like, "Hey, do a share buyback, and then we're going to short it all the way down." Like,
If I don't know all the like the what was it? Because Triton was with Boston Consulting Group. Is that what you? I think it was something like that.
he was part.
It's a
part I
long
don't
time
know
ago.
what consultant group he was part of.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking like so at that time I don't know how many shares it was total outstanding, but like if we can count all the shares somewhat, we can kind of figure out what their max pain is, right? Because if those guys that were shorting it at $80, you think they've covered or I don't know.
I
So
don't know. I think a lot of people were banking it was going to 0. I think that, like, if it goes to the decentralized market, we'll see how naked everyone was swimming. So, because
so
if you were, especially if you're in another country, you were a
yeah,
broker in another country, and you know that like the mafia that runs Wall Street is going to
yeah,
kill a company,
yeah,
you can just pretty much confidently just sell as many shares as anyone wants to buy and just keep selling them because
yeah.
like you don't ever have to pay them back.
And I think they were talking about they can use different can okay, let me just ask this question. Can they use shares from different exchanges to cover other shares? Like for example, if they had Bed Bath and Beyond shares in Europe, can they take that Bed Bath and Beyond share from Europe and cover on the Nasdaq?
I mean, I don't even know that I don't even know how that works. I don't even know that they have shares. It's more of like a cost
Okay.
per difference thing that they're. I mean, someone was saying something like that. I'm not sure how that goes, but I think that the biggest kind of effect might be overseas brokers that are corrupt. Might some of those might blow up. Um, or just
Hey,
might be like piss a bunch of people off.
I think WATDC should come on. I you know what? I don't know what a courtesy swap is. I only heard of company or sorry, people do arbitrage between two different stock exchanges, but I don't know if that's
I
I
mean,
don't know how that
if you
works.
had a lot of people shorting in your brokerage and then I didn't, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, like you can you can buy insurance from me, and I have the shares in case you need it. So you just pay that insurance cost to me, and then I give you that swap.
So that's how it works. Okay, okay.
Yeah, but I think a lot of times they try to get those swaps.
Yeah.
Um, they try to end up like putting all that into like pension funds and ETFs or whatever. Like that's why they're always saying, "Oh, you're hurting the teachers' pension funds." You know, it's like so you wrap up a bunch of things that are bad, then you send it to Credit Suisse, which is outside of the country, so like it has less regulations. They wrap it up again, and then they send it back, and then they wrap it up so like no one knows what's really going on, and then they like funnel it over to the teachers' pension funds, and probably someone at the top like is getting money to accept those. It's like, hey, I'll give you a bonus if you support our new whatever it is. It's a just this
Oh,
thing,
okay.
this
Okay.
investing vehicle, and it's great, and so the person at the top takes their bonus. They don't know what they're doing, or they know what they're doing and they're just really corrupt. And then when it blows up, it was the bad guys are long gone.
This is the I feel like I've seen this before. This is from the movie heck, what is it called? It's the collateralized debt swaps. Is that what
Yeah,
it's when they
The Big
take all
Short.
the yeah, yeah, there you
Yeah. Yeah, so there's all those and they repackage them and then they can, send it overseas and yeah. So I don't know, but I think that there's gonna be a lot of corruption exposed when this comes out. I don't know how more wasn't exposed in 2008. I think part of it had to do just with that there there wasn't as much information available about the market and how it works and how corruption works. Because otherwise people would, get out their pitchforks and, start marching on Wall Street, right?
yeah.
I mean, when people did the Occupy Wall Street, they had their complaints were very different, But now it's like, no, like, look, here's exactly what we're mad at: payment for order flow.
Yeah.
Not no transparency in short positions. Like it's very clear, and and these are the changes we want. Like, so I think that we would be able to make changes that should have been made in 2008 because now we know and we have the tools to replace it. Like, we don't even want the stock exchange the way it is. We want a decentralized exchange, period. um
Okay.
Trying to get all the, let's see, watch the Big Short for TLDR, mortgage backed swaps, and that movie is literally just Hollywood glorification. Yeah, I totally agree. The Big Short, I think, was a good intro, but like, I think there's a lot more corruption than that. I actually watched an interview with, I think it was Michael Burry or whatever, and he's kind of like asked, he's like, "Well, are those people at the top, were they dumb or corrupt?" And you can see he's like, he's like, they're like, "Did they read it? Did they read what was in these?" And he's just like he knew that if he said no, it'd be bad, and if he said yes, it'd be bad. And it was like, well, why does he care to try to protect them? So I think there's more to that story, that it wasn't an accident, that beyond, like, there's no loyalty amongst thieves, or that they were working together. I don't really know, but a little sus to me. So I agree with that. You said
I
what? Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh, okay. I was gonna say I think they just they try to skim like the basic understanding of it because most people in general public wouldn't know what a CDS is or all the other like tech like even payment for order flow. If I
Yeah.
like I work in construction, right? If I went on a job site and I'd be like, "Hey, do you know what pay for order flow is?" And they'll be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Right? Like to an average person, even like they're like, "Oh, I'm an investor." I'm like, "All right, what do you invest in?" It's like, I do the meme stocks, shit like that, right?
Yeah.
It's like they try to create. I think they're trying to give people a basic idea and also provide entertainment. Otherwise, it would literally be a documentary about Wall Street, and like without like certain people playing different roles, nobody would really watch the movie because they, for one, they wouldn't understand, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think. But
I
like,
think it's getting out there. I mean, I think it like I was talking to, who was I talking to? Maybe Sears or something. We were like, hey, maybe we should do like a documentary and kind of like The Big Short, but like explain it a little bit further. just like an education documentary type thing. Um,
Oh,
I don't know if I know enough. I'm going to have to do research and pool a bunch of brains together, but it could be it could be pretty legit.
damn! I feel like I could be like one of the main characters, just like a no-brainer trying to understand what the fuck is going on. But that might be the best way to explain it, right?
That is
Because if you can
really how
explain it to
books
someone
work.
like me, holy fuck, like everybody would understand.
Yeah, like I call building. So you have to like try and explain the world to someone, and so you
Yeah,
have to have someone who's an outsider that doesn't know the world, so that you can just like get people up to speed on the world.
yeah,
I mean, I
that
really
that would work.
appreciate OK Betts for explaining, because he sees behind the curtain, which is like really bullish to me. The fact that
He's on our
he's in this
side.
play is because
Yeah.
I know he's seen behind the curtain, and so I'm like, I'm
That's
going wherever he goes.
see, I follow people that's way smarter than me. Because I have no idea. I listen to guys like you, and then I listen to guys like OK Bets. Every time he talks, I have to open up a goddamn dictionary to understand
See,
what
but
he's
I could
talking
be
about.
wrong. I could be
Yeah,
wrong. I'm just theorizing stuff because I haven't seen behind the curtain, but I know he has.
yeah,
And so I know that unless he's rugging us, which I think he'd rather rug Wall Street than rug us, but unless he's rugging us, like he's seen behind the curtain and he knows what's gonna happen.
yo, have a good night, WATDC.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, um, yeah. OK Bets is he's an SEC investigator, right?
Um
As
I
far as
think
I
so.
know.
Yeah, I think something
Like
was
he's a
SEC?
security fraud like investigator.
Yeah, I think so.
He said a lot of big words, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big words. So,
But you can
uh,
tell, like, I mean, he knows the people, and he's like, and he knows the tactics, and
yeah, I think he was like saying you can find anything going on Wall Street if you just follow the money trail.
yeah,
And ideally, this is how I learned how Jake Chuby operates, right? Like he's like another doctor, like you,
yeah.
but he follows money trail. I was like, holy shit, like fucking genius.
And that's why I like the chart was just like you can follow, like, it's like the
Yeah,
insiders who really know and are buying, or the algorithms, whatever it is, they know what's happening, and like it's telling a story, and it makes it easier. Someone else was saying earlier, like, hey, where do I start by like what dockets do I read? And it's like, well, you could just look at each time it changes direction, and then just go through the Kroll documents and look through like what ones happened on that date.
it's okay to say it was me that asked that question, by the
No,
way.
actually, it was another person.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
because
no,
I'm like, huh?
it was on a Spaces call a few days ago, and so um, Sun Devil offered a few good um, dockets, and I offered like docket 10, I guess. Actually, maybe that's what caused maybe this is where docket 10 came out. That's interesting.
Let's pop that up. Let's see what's going on. What's
Um,
docket 10?
okay. Also, to answer OMG gets CAC gaming, I haven't seen the inside job, but now that you mention it, I will look it up. And also WATDC, if he watches this later. Why was the PPP forgiven but not the student loans? Student loans are the new it swap, and we're now just finding out about it. Yeah, that actually, that's kind of interesting that he brings that up, because I think that
Sorry,
go
what's
ahead.
a PPP?
Um, I'm not actually sure. I think he means like
I'm afraid to Google it. You know what?
the
Let's do it. Right.
I think I mean, I guess I could just look it up.
Okay, I got it. Hold up. Purchasing power parity. Wait, that might not be the right one.
Economic theory, it states the price levels between two countries should be public-private partnerships.
Oh, okay,
I think he's
okay,
talking
okay.
about that. I think it's basically like I just assume that what he's talking about is that like Goldman Sachs and all those people being bailed out, right? Why did he bail out them but not the student loans, but you see like the SoFi and all those other people doing the refinancing of the student loans. So I mean that's like the whole shakedown, I think it's called or whatever, in like the mafia, where like you have to move a bunch of assets and then you like into like a building, and then you get insurance on it, and then you like strip it of all of its worth, and then you light it on fire. And so if what they're doing is someone like SoFi and all those people are like, okay, we're going to get all the student loans, and then once they're forgiven, we just get a bunch of money.
Holy fuck, that's ingenious.
Yeah, it is.
Wait, do you want to start a school? No, I'm just kidding. You can be the school, like the A.M.E school of stock trading.
Oh, Phil says paycheck program protection during COVID. Oh, yeah. Okay,
Uh,
that's true.
hey Phil, what do you know about it?
Yeah, if anyone wants to come on,
Yeah, what do you know about it?
let me just look at the chart real quick and see what day something happened May 3rd.
Yeah, you
So
said there was a docket, right? For that drop.
yeah, so it should be last page of it.
Oh fuck, I was pretty sure I was supposed to
March.
be in charge of that, and then I had no idea what I was
Yeah,
reading.
geez, man. No.
I really don't have any idea what I'm reading. Like I'm trying, but there's a lot of big words here.
Um oh, it's interesting that like dockets were coming out and it wasn't so happened
Some
the price. The bottom was before May 3rd. I guess I should probably um
Not that much. Your student loans offered to businesses to be able to pay their employees during COVID. Oh, that's interesting. Some things people can't speak on. Huh.
so let's see. So we have May 3rd notice. Actually, was that a court date? I'm trying to think of what bullish thing happened on the 3rd. It might just be the application to shorten the time. Um, so it might be docket 194.
Wait, so why would that make it go down?
No, it made it go up. That was when the bottom came in, and it was like,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
which kind of, I mean, it makes sense if that is what caused it, is because like, I mean, like Sears, for example, is still in chapter 11, right? Like they're still trying to, and it's like 5 years, right? And other companies, I mean, the normal timeline for a company is like 18 months would be like a fast one. And so they were trying to do it way faster. So if this was going to take 18 months, there really wouldn't be any point in buying it now. You just wait till, wait for a year and a half and see how, or wait for like 14 months, see how it goes, and then buy in, right? So to just like, oh yeah, I want to hold bags for 18 months. Because if that was the case, a lot of them would go down to like 5 cents, 10 cents, 1 cent. So
Oh, okay. So that's how you actually trade. I'm like, I'm like,
I
bro, I fucking bought the dip, but it keeps on goddamn dipping.
I mean, I think I found in the Teddy books where Ryan Cohen seemed to be suggesting to buy box spreads, like to actually like it's gonna run, but it's also gonna dip. Don't like, you know, I mean, I don't know. I think we can't blame him for it going down, because it's like you could have just bought puts and made money, right? Like you could buy both. Um, so it's our bad if we don't do that. I mean, geez, it could like how much would it have cost? Like I don't want to like it's kind of would hurt to think about, but like how much would it have cost if when it run up to $30 if you just bought puts that day? And you're like, okay, well, I'd like to sell here, so I'm just going to ensure the fact that I'm going to be able to sell this next week. Like you just have to buy puts for literally 1 week if it runs up like that. Just knowing like, okay, like I don't know if this is a 1 day deal, but if it is, you just buy those puts. Um,
Fuck. Okay, so that I completely thought something else. when the during that I actually got in at like $18
Yeah.
and I was like when the I was actually at work when it hit 30, but in my head I was looking at 30 going, "Holy shit, this might go to 40." Instead of, yeah, you should probably buy puts, to hedge your shit just in case.
Yeah. It's bears
Okay.
make money, bulls make money, pigs get slaughtered. So, hey, we learned I learned the hard way too, right? I got burned. I didn't get burned on Bed Bath. I got burned on my last play before that.
Ah,
Um,
you live, you learn, eh?
yeah.
So this is how the hedge funds take our money.
Oh, whoops,
Oh,
wrong screen. I was going to switch to.
okay, hold up. Phil is saying a lot of business owners got them. Oh, so the PPP and used it for other shit, and they end up getting forgiven. But it makes sense though, since student loans are involved in swaps, it would kind of fuck up the swaps for the big players if the student loans were just forgiven, so they don't want that. Huh? I never thought
Yeah,
about it
that
like that.
we'll definitely have to dive into that one after this play because I guarantee the next election, um, it's going to be a big deal. the
So,
I,
sorry,
yeah.
sorry. When is the next election? I don't pay enough
Um,
attention.
wait, is it? I mean, it's
Is
coming
it
up.
this?
Like they're
Is
they're
it this year?
doing. They're going to start doing debates. I think it's January. Or no, wait, is it November? Shoot. Um, Oops. What did it? Sorry, I'm trying to share back on.
2024. Oh, yo, what's up, Crayon Green? It's my
Oh, it's
favorite.
2024. Yeah.
It's actually my favorite kind of crayon, the green one. Don't like red crayons. Taste bad.
I don't know why it's not letting me share my screen. Dang it! Oh, now
Oh
you're the
man.
center.
Oh yeah. You see that Lambo? Yeah, that's what I want to get.
That's your vision board. I like it.
That's my vision board.
Nice. Oh, there we go. So, any other questions about this? I wasn't planning on doing too long of a video, but I just wanted to point out that it makes sense and that um that this was a liquidation thesis. It's not happening. We're definitely going perpendicular to it. This is the survival thesis, and it looks like we now entered back into the recovery thesis. But my guess is that on the 12th, this day right here, is we're going to make it back into the beyond thesis. And then we will probably go even further beyond.
Man, I sorry to interrupt. Oh, oh my God, it's CAC gaming. Yeah, a lot of people tend to say that.
After
we
Moas, I'm sure we'll be able to move around quite easily and get.
we're gonna have a 420 baked episode.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh man, but weed was my thing. I probably shouldn't say this on live. It's probably recorded, but
Yeah, it is recorded.
okay, okay.
I'm sure anyone can guess that wants to guess. So we can just leave it at that.
Oh, okay. Well,
And if you, I mean, but you do you, right?
I'm like my body's like it's more like a chemistry lab at this point, so that's all I'm gonna put it. So
OMG says he's going to Vegas with us. Dude, that's gonna be
oh
legit. I hope it happens.
wait, what's this Vegas thing? I've only heard Sun Devil talk about it. I'm still trying to
So
get onto that.
when Pulte had his poker tournament that he played in, I was like, hey, we should do an ape community poker tournament. We could get everyone from the PP show and maybe from the other communities. And he put the eyes emoji, right?
Oh yeah?
And so I was like, okay, cool. Well, then someone else like brought it up again. And so I just made like a tweet and then I put in like a link to like kind of like a sign up just to see like how many people would be legitimately interested. And he said that like if there's enough interest, then he'll set one up.
Oh,
So,
that was sorry, that was the one with Kaz or Kais. He set that one up with Polte, I think, was it?
well, no, I was the one who, I mean,
Oh, you
I just put up a kind of a sign up. I was like just the first one to suggest that we do a tournament. So
yeah.
some people want to do it online, but I mean, I think that if we could go to the Poker Go studio and actually do it in person, that'd probably be like the ideal. So actually, in fact, I'm gonna put
Cra- Crayon Green, you should just tell her that I'm going with everybody trusts an Asian guy, right? Oh,
so I'll put actually the um I have more than one link, but yeah, if you guys haven't signed up, do sign up. That's the link to the Twitter one. Actually, let's see how many people are. Okay.
sorry. So this Poker Go thing is it's just what is that exactly?
It's just a company that they do. Here's the actual sign up um, form. So please fill it out, send it to anyone else that wants to. We have almost 70. So I think if we get over 100, that they probably would set it up. Um, Especially if we had 100, then if Pulte actually announced it, then it would probably go crazy. And, you know, who knows? Maybe Ryan Cohen would show up. That'd be legit. But
That'd be a
Poker
cool
Go is
name.
just they do streaming of and tournaments of poker. So
I might sign up just for the fuck of it. I have no. It's gonna be like the same thing as me in stocks. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I don't know how to play poker. I
if
like out of
if it happens, we'll do a live stream just like how to learn poker in 1 hour, and like we'll just all learn
and then
poker.
send me out. Send me out.
So yeah, it's I mean it's I don't know, I think it's fun. But any other questions, I guess, before we sign off, or either from you, Ping Pang, or from anyone in the chat?
I don't know. You gotta learn because now I know. Hey, I was gonna suggest if we're going to Vegas to be like, let's go fucking like bumper cars or some shit. But then I was like, who the fuck goes to Vegas for like,
No, I would love to.
really?
Oh yeah, no. If we went to a go kart racing place, that'd be legit. I
Yo,
love karts.
I was just thinking like one of my childhood memories came up. I remember the first time I went to play fucking laser tag.
Yeah,
I didn't know that you're supposed to shoot the lasers at the fucking like the dot things.
yeah,
So I kept on shooting at people's faces, going like, why like it's like, fucking headshot like in video games, right? Like I
yeah. You're playing Nazi zombies. They're
and
headshots
I'm always
only.
I'm like at the end I'm like, how the fuck am I losing? I shot like 20 guys in the head.
Yeah, it's definitely a trick to it. I still don't. I still don't get it. I Just like weird ways of.
You know what, Mike? You
Yeah.
can teach me how to play poker, and I have a feeling. Do you know how to dance?
No, I don't.
I'll teach you how to fucking dance, man.
All
That's
right.
what my Twitter handle name is, Korean Disco Jesus. You'll see
Okay.
what's going down.
Okay. Okay. Sweet.
We'll bust out the glow sticks, and buddy,
Sweet.
they will know.
Well, at the poker tournament, maybe you'll just be the entertainment. You'll just be dancing.
I I think it's gonna be hard trying to entertain Ryan Cohen and Pote.
I think they'd like it. They like the community. I mean, I think it's like I don't know. We're in this together. I mean, like they're trying to build something bigger, and I think we both need each other.
I I see. I've always imagined like billionaires that have like super hot like Ukrainian models to entertain them.
Yeah.
I'm not hot and I don't have boobs, so like I'm trying to think like how do you entertain
Well,
like
yeah, but if you were dancing in there, well, I mean, you could get other dancers to surround you. That's fine.
oh my god, holy shit. Yeah, we'll have like if this play works out and we're in Vegas, we're gonna have money. I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. Well, I actually gotta head out. But this was fun, and we'll see what happens to the PP show. PP's out of town, but I'm not sure either ABC or I will likely be putting on something at least um,
Nice.
on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So
You gotta give the crowd what they want, right?
yeah. Well, thanks for coming on with me, Ping Pang. You're the man.
No
So
worries, man. You're the brain, like I said, you're the brain and I'm the I'll entertain. I'll try my best.
sweet. All right. Well, peace out, man.
You guys